Yes, yes, yes. The Eagles are 5-0. The Eagles beat the LA Rams. It was pretty much a home game. And you know what? There's some things that we definitely need to clean up. It wasn't a perfect game, but this team just keeps fighting every single week.
You better do. Because I've seen enough horror movies to know any weirdo wearing a mask is never friendly.
What is going on, guys? I hope everyone's enjoying the start of their work week with the Eagles coming off a win against the LA Rams 23-14. This game was an interesting one. I was kind of looking for that perfect game, but, obviously you're going to take the good with the bad in this game, and definitely some nitpicking here, which I think there is some things that need to be talked about when it comes to red zone, when it comes to, obviously, some of the coverage and some of the issues they're having at the nickel spot right now, which we saw a lot of guys play in this defense, okay? But it comes down to the game itself, and yeah, I think with the Philadelphia Eagles, I think the one thing we have to say is Dallas Goedert getting involved. That's an awesome thing. Dallas Goedert pretty much on the day, 13 targets, 13 catches for 88 yards. So it was really nice. And this is Dallas Goedert's best game of the year. We know that Nick Sirianni has been talking about getting the tight ends involved. And, when you have A.J. Brown getting, 150, 160, 170 yards a game, you want to get more guys involved. And I think it's really nice that, Dallas Goedert was used and, his best game of the year. So can't complain about that. We just need some other positions to be more productive. And I think getting Goedert involved straight from the beginning of the game and had the first touchdown of the game, which was pretty cool, even to the wide receivers as well today. And I think, there's going to be some criticism to go around, but Devontae Smith didn't have his game. It is okay for a starting receiver, to not have a big game. The Eagles have two number one receivers on this team, and today's for Devontae Smith from yesterday, he only had one reception for 6 yards. That was pretty much it. I mean, some receivers are going to have their day. I know we're going to want both guys very, very involved. I get it. Some days you're going to have a good Devontae Smith day, a good Devontae Smith day, a bad, A.J. Brown day, and maybe a little bit of both productivity on both sides. But Devontae Smith was, I guess depending on matchups, some of these guys are just not going to have those matchups during the game. A.J. Brown had a lot of deep catches besides the pick that was thrown, that would have resulted in some points on an early down, which it was kind of upsetting a little bit. But 127 yards on 6 catches for A.J. Brown, fantastic. Loved how they got A.J. Brown involved early. Dallas Goedert in that first series ran the ball with DeAndre Swift, which was great. So there was a nice mixture. That first series was probably the best. The Tampa Bay's first series I thought was pretty good, but this one I think is the better one here going down the line. This was the best first series we had. Really, with the receivers in general, I think I was really surprised with Quez Watkins getting the start today. Zacchaeus has been doing pretty good for us, but there were some fans that were pissed off on Quez Watkins on a couple of things, and I think Jalen Hurts didn't have a great day when it came to. And I think he had a pretty good day, but there was some mistakes. I'm not nitpicking, but we have to say that Jalen Hurts missed some wide open targets today. They missed one on Devontae Smith. He missed one on Devontae Smith on the left side. He missed one on Dallas Goedert to the right sideline. He overthrew that. Quez Watkins, that was wide open. I think it was on a third down, and totally missed him, overthrew him. And then missed Quez again in the end zone at the end of the game, in the second half, which, you got to hit these targets, and sometimes Hurts is going through his first read and I feel like he wants to force feed the ball to certain receivers at times. But Quez, I can't really define his year on the one play that he had on 3rd and 2. And I'm surprised we didn't run the ball here. You threw a dump-off pass, a little short screen to Quez Watkins on the left side. He had 2 blockers in front of him, and he just didn't follow his blockers. He went around both of his blockers, and he could have had, I guess he was just trying to make the big play or make it easy for himself, but he just made it harder for himself, even though that play call was kind of disgusting to me. I didn't really like that 3rd and 2 short pass to Quez on the sideline, but it would have turned out well if he, followed his blockers and he had a wide open lane in the middle, just take the lane and get the first down. It's already enough that on a pass like that, you're going to be a yard or 2 behind. And then really having to work yourself upfield. But the blockers were there. He just got to keep running. So I thought, he was fine besides that one play and, would have had a touchdown in this game. There was a lot of missed opportunities with with this offense. I think we could all say that the most. So I was kind of surprised how Quez got most of the reps. I don't think we even saw Zaccheaus on the field. Maybe at the end of the game, I'm not really sure. I have to look over the game again, but I don't think Zaccheaus even played at all. The offensive line, fantastic. There was a lot of times where Jalen Hurts had like 5 to 6 seconds of of protection. It was great. Aaron Donald was a no factor in this game. He had no sacks, no tackle for loss, no nothing. They completely shut Aaron Donald down. I don't think Aaron Donald's had really a sack the past few weeks, from what I heard. But they shut him down. Thank for Jeff Stoutland and obviously, Brian Johnson really making sure that they always, during the game, we were hearing that Nick said to the team this week that, know where Aaron Donald is on the field at all costs because he could disrupt plays. There was a couple of times where they disrupted plays where Jalen Hurts had to bail out of the pocket, so I think besides, the quarterback, I think with Jalen Hurts, I thought it was a good day for Hurts. He had 303 yards and a touchdown. Okay. He threw a pick in this game. I get it. There was one underthrown ball to A.J. Brown, which I don't know if he was trying to get the PI call on purpose because he really underthrew that. And it was on an early down too, and that could have resulted in points. Really, at the end of the day, the Eagles could have been up another 17 points in this game. I think they could have scored 2 more touchdowns, probably could have scored a field goal later on. But they completely shut down down the Rams in the second half. With the defense in general here, Jalen Carter had a monster day. I think he had 2 sacks, 4 tackles. I mean, it was a great day. I think he forced a fumble today. Reddick at the end of the game had 2 sacks back to back. So second game without the cast on, I thought he did really well. But when it comes down to the nickel corner spot, and this scheme of this defense, it is horrific. Okay. They were moving nickel corners around like crazy. You had, Mario Goodrich hasn't really played the nickel spot in a couple weeks. It's been a while since he played there. They were just moving guys. I was like, okay, so Bradley Roby's going to play. And I think they got, more comfortable with Roby later on. Roby made some plays from, the first half, at the end of the first half, and then really started to make a couple plays on one series, on some good coverage in the second half of the game, which was great. But they had Eli Ricks. They had Mario Goodrich. They were literally rotating guys at nickel. Like, we have to have a strict nickel spot right now because like switching guys constantly, I guess they're just trying to see what they have and who could play or who the hot hand is at nickel right now. And Roby didn't get much, he only been here a few days and he made some plays, which was great. But constantly rotating guys at that spot is a problem right now. And I think they really need to solidify it going against the Jets next weekend, this week. That's coming right now. So I get it, but I think that's a problem. The first time we were on defense for the night which was really for the day. And literally it was driving me insane. Literally it was slant pass, Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp, Puanuka, that guy. I can't say his name right, but he had a pretty good day himself. But Kupp only had 100 yards leading into like the third quarter. So he only had 100 yards, I think, leading into like the middle of the third quarter, which really wasn't that bad. They did a lot. They did enough. I think the defense started to get better in that second half. They started to get more pressure on Matthew Stafford. Just remember, they didn't have Fletcher Cox, Marlon Tuipulotu. They didn't have him. I noticed they started moving Brandon Graham to the inside for an inside pass rush. They started moving some guys around, which was great, but they're moving too far back at times. And we all know that this is a huge problem with that scheme. And, Slay got burned today. Bradbury got burned on a touchdown. Puanuka burned Bradbury. Slay had a lot of separation on Cooper Kupp on that one drive that led down to a Rams touchdown. This is going to happen to your outside corners. Like, I know you're expecting these guys to play perfect, but I think we have to have the realization, like, they're going to get beat at times. It's going to happen. I think they were playing man-to-man on both of those plays, so I could be wrong, but Slay was getting more burned than Bradbury was, okay? So I don't think it's alarming. I think the scheme is alarming. You're not really putting your corners in good position to win football games like this or to at least win your matchup. I think that's a big problem. So I think as a whole, I think going into the second half, they got a little bit more physical. They got a little bit more aggressive. We could have had a pick with Nicholas Morrow. Nicholas Morrow had a few tackles today, so I thought the linebackers played pretty good. But Nicholas Morrow, by God, God, learn how to pick up a football, seriously, because he dropped the pick, and then when Carter, I think, forced the fumble on the screen pass, whatever it was, I mean, that ball's rolling. You had 3 to 4 Eagles players around that ball. Nicholas Morrow couldn't even pick up. I mean, he tried, but he couldn't even scoop up the ball or even dive on it. So that would have resulted in points because I think, every time we thought we would get a turnover, the Rams punter did a fantastic job because he punted and got us inside the 10 a couple times. Where literally 3 drives only got us 6 points in the second half. You shut down the Rams in the second half, but 3 drives, 6 points, it's just not enough, man. You could have scored 2 touchdowns and a field goal. This should have been a lot higher. The red zone is just a problem right now. Just a problem. Okay, you're going into red zone, then all of a sudden they take out Swift. They put in Gainwell. I don't know what the issue is with putting it. Jalen Hurts had some really good QB runs, especially on third down, the one where he got hit at the line, then he broke that and went to got tackled again. And I thought his ankle got kind of twisted on that when he took a few hits. Jalen Hurts got hit a good amount of times. But even during the fourth quarter where they're down in the red zone, it's like 3rd and 7. I forgot what it was, but they ran like 2 QB, design runs. And I just it's the biggest cop-out play. What are you trying to do to your run? What are you trying to do to your quarterback right now? Getting hit way too many times. And they're just taking out, God, it's like I literally was yelling at the TV yesterday. No joke. And they're literally taking out your best back, and you're putting Gainwell in on a 3rd and long or 2nd and long, whatever it is. I still don't think they ran the ball enough. I mean, it's been inside zone, but they started to run the ball to the outside a little bit in the end of the second half, which I really liked. I think that's what they have to start doing, because if you just run vertically all the time, you're just run inside zone all the time, it's just not enough. I feel like when you run to the outside with DeAndre Swift, he's got that great vision, that start and stop speed, and can really just get his speed, take it off when he changes direction, which I think is great. So I think that's an awesome thing they did in the second half. But the red zone, we can get the ball downfield, no problem. Hurts loves to sling that ball. I felt like they force-fed Devontae Smith on that pass in the end zone that he dropped. That's the one that Quez Watkins was wide open. It's not like Quez Watkins was on the opposite side of the end zone. He was right in the middle, and he was waving his hands literally, wide open. Wide open. So I can't define Quez Watkins on that, but there are times where they force feed these receivers, and I just think you could waste more time on the clock. I feel like you left points off the board. I mean, you left points on the board today. You really did. I mean, you could have scored another 2 touchdowns and a field goal. The one to Devontae Smith, the one to AJ Brown to try to. You underthrew that to try to get that PI call. The face mask penalties. It was 3rd and 26. They were backed up. 3rd and 26, we get a face mask call on Zach Cunningham. Then they get a first down after that. 3rd and 26, you got them backed up. You can get them to punt with one more play. And unfortunately, it just didn't work to our advantage. We ended up making the stop, thank God, after that with a new set of downs. Britton Covey, I thought, had a pretty good day. A few punt returns. I thought, he got one inside the 10. I think he got 15 to 18 yards, which he's averaging about 15 to 18 yards per punt return. So I thought he had a great day for what he had to deal with. We got the ball a lot inside the 10, but three drives, 3 series, and only 6 points. It's just not enough. The Eagles got to do more. But that red zone is a disaster right now. We get to red zone, and I feel like we swap out the guys we shouldn't substitute, and we get into this habit of using Hurts way too much. And I think that's what the other problems are too. You know what I mean? So I'm not making a huge deal out of it, but I'm liking that they got DeAndre Swift in the passing game too. I thought that was pretty good. They're really trying to get him moving in this passing game because he's really another wide receiver threat out there. He's another threat that's out there that you throw a ball to him, midfield or behind the secondary. Trust me, he's going to get a touchdown sooner or later when it comes to the receiving game because I think he's very valuable. Using Dallas Goedert was fantastic, and the Eagles got to clean up some stuff. I could say a win is a win, but I don't think Hurts was perfect today. He had a good day, but he wasn't perfect today. And the defense started to eat and get pressure on Stafford. Once we rattled him, once we rattled his cage a little bit, he started to panic a little bit on some throws. There was some drops from some of the receivers today. That little short, fast receiver that they have, Attic, I forgot his name, but he dropped one for that would have probably a slant upfield or a post corner that would have been a touchdown. So he dropped one. There was a couple drop ones. There was a couple drops, that they probably would have, the Rams really wanted to take back on some series. But it was nice having Justin Evans back. Reed Blankenship was making some good tackles. I think I don't know if he had a face mask call or not. Jalen Carter should have had a face mask on the sack that he had, but they never caught that. I don't get how they don't catch some of these face masks. The ones where it's literally one-on-one, a Ram and an Eagle right next to each other. There's nobody else around, and they never catch those penalties. It's just some of them are kind of weird at times. But like I said, this team, this is a character-building win. Obviously, we know that the only time the reporters are talking about the Eagles, well, the Eagles are 4-0. The Eagles are 5-0 right now, and they're not playing the best football, but they're undefeated. We're only talked about right now when we're undefeated. I mean, that's really the only way we're getting talked about right now, because nobody thinks we're winning the best football and winning the way we should be winning. We haven't played a complete game. Really the next couple weeks, your schedule is going to get harder in the second half of the season, and it really starts with Miami when you start to play the 49ers, and you have to go down and you got to play KC. You still got the Bills. You got some teams down there in the second half. A lot of other teams are dealing with a lot of injuries right now, some season ending from the other day too. So I think there's some stupid decision-making calls from Brian Johnson I just didn't like. Force-feeding Devontae Smith, force-feeding A.J. Brown and underthrowing it so A.J. Brown can go back for it to get that PI call. I don't like it. I don't like running with Jalen Hurts too much, and there are times where we needed him, and trust me, Hurts really bailed, and he got some of these QB runs when there was good protection where he almost got sacked a couple times, and he got up there, took a couple hits, and got the first down. So as a whole, I think there's definitely a lot to build upon, no doubt. Get some reinforcements next week. I don't know what the injuries were in this game too much. I thought Sua Opeta played really well at right guard. They had some help with Lane Johnson on some protection, but for a backup guard, that guard that can play both guard spots, Opeta played great. Thought the offensive line did good. I mean, I really didn't, there was, the Rams blitzed, they didn't shy away from it. They blitzed us where Jalen had to bail out quick, and, he can't do anything. It is what it is. When they blitz all their guys, that's just what happens. But I think protection was great, and guys are getting opportunity. Quez Watkins probably could have done a lot more in this game if he didn't make that stupid one mistake. As much as I didn't like that play call on 3rd and 2, Quez was wide open for a touchdown. He was missed a couple times wide open, one for a touchdown, one that would have led us to points, which we had to punt the ball. So definitely points left off the board here. And I think, there's definitely things to be, like I said, cleaned up and just get this done. So red zone is... Jesus, it's a problem. We get up in red zone, and it's like we don't even know how to play football. That's how bad it is. But this isn't a bad team. Like, we could fix a couple things here. It's just there's really not much to fix. Like, there's just a few things, and hopefully by next week at the nickel spot, we actually have ourselves solidified with Roby being a full-time starter instead of Eli Ricks, this one, that one, Mario Goodrich. Like, they were rotating guys nonstop. Like, how are you supposed to? Are you like seeing what these guys could do inside? Because Ricks hasn't got any playing time. This was the first time he got playing time this whole entire year. So this is a good win. You know what I mean? I knew this was going to be tough. I knew A.J. Brown was going to have a big game, which I already figured out. And I didn't think that Dallas Goedert was going to be that involved. And I think they strayed away from Swift at certain times. Rashad Penny had an illness, so I don't think he was activated for this game unless it was a fake sickness to, maybe bring up some more depth at other positions. Since they're not using Rashad Penny at all, as it is the whole entire season. But this was a win where I thought it was going to, I thought we would get some separation. We could have, but just a couple little mistakes with this offense. And, I feel like they cop out with some stupid plays, force feeding and trying to get some PI calls. And, they did the brotherly shove a good amount of times. I thought they were great. It's unstoppable. The Eagles are actually 92% successful, number one in the NFL when it comes to the brotherly shove, the push tush. Other teams are only 82%, which is kind of crazy why the Eagles are the best team that's doing it with your quarterback that could deadlift, could squat pretty much, 500-600 pounds. But not even just that, though. But your offensive, when you got the number one offensive line in the league that can get low, it makes it very easy. And the Eagles are the best at doing it, like I said. The Eagles are 5-0 again. This is the second year, first in team history, where the Eagles have been repetitive with 2 5-0 type seasons, which was great. And, like I said, a lot to improve, and there's really no excuse for it. I don't care how you're winning right now. A win is a win. We got the win. We're winning the games we should win. We have to win. Okay, stack these wins up. You have another week. I guess New York Jets, and like I said, today was good. A.J. Brown, the run game was pretty good. I think they should have ran a little bit more, okay? I think they got a little, they get little, when the pass starts working, they start to get a little crazy. The Jalen Hurts gunslings it a little bit, a little bit too much at times. And then there's some wasted plays where, you're backed in your end zone in the fourth quarter. You're backed in your end zone, and, two pass plays in a row, and one you're throwing out of bounds because the defense knows that you're going to pass the ball. They kind of see, and I wonder if they're hiding some plays at some point. I don't know what's going on, but I thought it was, like I said, it was a solid day for the Eagles. I think the defense rose up and got the pass rush was really getting there in the second half. Jalen Carter, like I said, Hassan Reddick with 2 sacks. Second game with his cast off. I thought Milton Williams had a good game. I thought Jordan Davis had a couple good. There was pressure. Brandon Graham had some pressures. I thought they played pretty good. I thought they started getting to Matt Stafford a lot more. And, the soft zone stuff has got to stop. It's there were times where they played some press just a little tiny bit. I still feel like they were too far away at times, but the nickel corner spot, they got to fix it. So, but other than that, let me know what you guys think about the game in general. The Eagles win 23-14. What did you like? What did you didn't like? What do the Eagles have to fix? Who needs to be more involved? What's your issue of this game? We'll talk about it more in the coming days, and we'll see what happens. But you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy this win, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Shakes them up, follow. So peace out, guys. Peace.